Hey lovely sexy hobby people, welcome to today's video, which is going to be Dungeons & Dragons issue 79. This is our final set of dice in a tin. It looks like it's multicoloured, kind of pride colours, so that's great. But come and join me on the desk and we will have a look through. Hey lovelies, let's have a look at Dungeons & Dragons issue 79. Get some colourful dice with this one. Let's take this out of the packet. Let's take that out, pop them there. Get there, and here we go. Framing events. Sage advice B, the DM 57. There is a circus in town, or a lunar. Sorry, is there a circus in town, or is there a lunar eclipse? Tournament or trial, roll on the framing events table to find the perfect backdrop to your encounter. When you're running encounters week in, week out, there may be times when you find yourself struggling to come up with a conflict that feels fun and fresh. Even if you have your wider campaign sketched out, devising a strong hook or backdrop for this week's episode, week after week, can drain your creative energy. Try what's a busy dungeon master to do. One option is to take a handful of NPCs with big personalities and put them in the midst of a dynamic event or location. Exciting stories happen when people's normal routines are disrupted. In real life, your train breaking down in the middle of your commute and getting stuck in the tube might be annoying, but it's the start of a day unlike any other, especially once you pepper in monsters and magic. Extrapolate this idea into your fantasy world. Merchants driving their carts through the high road to Waterdeep are stopped when a rift in the elemental plane of water creates a field of geysers. Stopping traffic for miles in any direction. Add a personable NPC or two, possibly a recurring ally or rival, and keep a few hand-picked monsters stat blocks in reserve in case the story starts to drag and you've got an easily improvised session. If you need help choosing what type of location, flip back to our features on environments like the dungeon. See Sage Advice, the DM 45, the wilderness, or Sage Advice B, the DM 55, or an urban location, Sage Advice, the DM 56. Alternatively, or additionally, you might consider using a particular event or backdrop as inspiration, which is where the framing events table overleaf comes in handy. Simply roll a D100, consult the table, and use that event as the starting point or as a way to grab players' attention. You could combine these events with the other options outlined above, or use them to inspire your own framing event. So here we go. D100. We have quite a few. So let's just pick a few, shall we? Birthday of an important NPC. Commemoration of a past tragedy. Equinox or solstice. Fertility festival. Graduation of cadets or wizards. Investiture of a knight or other noble. A lunar eclipse. Procession of ghosts. Remembrance for soldiers lost in war. A violent uprising. Or if you get 99 to 100, concurrence of two events. Roll twice, ignoring results of 99 or 100. Figurines of Power, Sage Advice C, Spellcasting 18A, red section. Figurines of Power, part 1. Ebony Fly, I Choose You. Okay. Be mindful when you're sifting through that dragon's hoard, as some amazing items can be passed over as if they were mere tchotchkes. I'm assuming tchotchkes. Looking like the trinkets found in the pockets of any adventurer, figurines of wondrous power can actually become something much more useful or powerful, becoming living creatures once activated. Some of the figurines can be hidden as mounts, some can aid surveillance, while others can be thrown at your enemies to give them a new threat to worry about. Figurine of wondrous power. Wondrous item rarity varies. A figurine of wondrous power is a statuette of a beast small enough to fit in a pocket. If you use an action to speak the command word and throw the figurine to a point on the ground within 60 feet of you, the figurine becomes a living creature. If the space where the creature would appear is occupied by any other creatures or objects, or if there isn't enough space for the creature, the figurine doesn't become a creature. The creature is friendly to you and your companions. It understands your languages and obeys your spoken commands. If you issued no commands, the creature defends itself but takes no other actions. The creature exists for a duration specific to each figurine. At the end of the duration, the creature reverts to its figurine form. It reverts to a figurine early if it drops to 0 hit points, or if you use an action to speak the command word again while touching it. When the creature becomes a figurine again, its property can't be used again until a certain amount of time has passed, as specified in its description. Okay, wow, there's quite a few. And we've got figurines of power there as well. So we have Bronze Griffin, rare. Up to 6 hours, can't be used again for 5 days. Ebony Fly, rare, for up to 12 hours, and can be ridden as a mount. Wow. Once it's been used, can't be used again for 2 days. Golden Lions, rare. Each can become a lion for up to 1 hour. Once a lion has been used, it can't be used again until 7 days have passed. Marble Elephant, rare, for 24 hours. Once it has been used, it can't be used again until 7 days have passed. Obsidian Steed, very rare. Can be used for up to 24 hours. The Nightmare fights only to defend itself. So this polished obsidian horse can become a nightmare, see part 2, for up to 24 hours. The nightmare fights only to defend itself. Once it's been used, it can't be used again until 5 days have passed. If you have a good alignment, the figurine has a 10% chance each time you use it to ignore your orders, including a command to revert to figurine form. If you mount the nightmare while it is not ignoring your orders, and you and the nightmare excuse me, you and the nightmare are instantly transported to a random location on the plane of Hades, where the nightmare reverts to figurine form. Okay, let's not have that one. Onyx Dog. The Onyx statuette dog can become a Mastiff, see part 2. For up to 6 hours, the Mastiff has an intelligence of 8 and can speak Common. Has dark vision out to a range of 60 feet and can see invisible creatures. Once used, it can't be used again for 7 days. Serpentine Owl, rare. Can become a giant owl for up to 8 hours. Once used, it can't be used again until 2 days have passed. The owl can telepathically communicate with you at any range if you and it are on the same plane of existence. Silver Raven, uncommon. This silver statuette of a raven can become a raven up to 12 hours. Once it's been used, it can't be used until 2 days have passed. While in Raven form, the figurine allows you to cast the Animal Messenger spell. So these are the stat blocks for all of the different options that were mentioned here. Griffin. Did I see Griffin? No, didn't see Griffin there. Giant Owl and Nightmare. So here's the Nightmare. Large Fiend, Neutral Evil. And then Mastiff, Raven, Giant Owl. Okay. All combat begins with players rolling initiative, but DMs can introduce some interesting alternatives if they want to get to action quicker. There's more than one way to start a fight. When you roll initiative, the current system is a good balance of simplicity and realism, but you or your players may find this system too simple for your taste and want to play a crunchier system, or maybe you think rolling initiative already drags the pace down and you want something even more streamlined. If that sounds like you, then consider these 3 variant rules. Super simple, you go by initiative score. With this variant, you eliminate initiative rolls completely, simply giving all creatures, characters included, an initiative score determined by adding 10 to their dexterity modifier. Simple side initiative at the start of a combat encounter. Each side, usually just the players and the DM controlling a single group of foes, but possibly including a neutral or allied NPC cohort. In particularly large battles, rolls a single d20 for the whole group with no modifiers. The highest roll wins initiative, with ties re-rolled. Alternatively, you could just toss a coin. There is an entire side. Then an entire side takes all its characters' actions in order that is discussed and agreed by the players in the case of a player group, or determined by the DM in the case of enemy group. Okay, and then super detailed speed factor. With this variant, initiative is not rolled once at the start of combat. Instead, at the start of every round, each participant declares their action, then rolls a d20 for initiative and applies a speed factor modifier depending on the kind of action they're taking, including bonus action, the weapon they're using, and their size. See table below. Okay, alright, so you've got things like spellcaster, heavy melee weapon, light melee weapon, two-handed melee weapon, ranged loading weapon, and then initiative modifiers here, and then your creature size and the initiative modifier. Interesting. We've in the new campaign that I'm in, we have, when rolling for initiative, we have agreed a rule that if you roll a d20, a natural 20 when rolling for initiative, then you may choose where you place in the initiative order. So that's something that we've agreed on in the current campaign that I'm doing. Character creation D, backgrounds 20, Rune Carver. Harness the latent magic of ancient giant runes. Long ago, Anam, the All-Father of the Giants, forged the material plane out of the fragments of the first world. As his descendants, the first giants, set foot upon the realm, he gave them runes of power to harness the fundamental forces of the world. These runes were sacred to the giants, and they kept them secret from outsiders. But over the millennia, the practice has been adopted by many peoples. As such, though giant runes are the most commonly used, many rune carvers incorporate symbols from their native languages into the clasp. Now, these runes are sought after by historians, researchers, and those hungry for forgotten mystical power. Rune carver benefits. Characters who choose the rune carver background gain proficiencies in history and perception, as well as with one set of artisan's tools. Okay. We've got some stat blocks here for spells. So we've got Armour of Agathis, Burning Hands, and Chromatic Orb. Liches or leeches. Feels like adventurers always got 99 problems, but count yourself lucky, at least a lich ain't one. At face value, a lich might not seem much different from the other undead, dressed in time-dulled jewellery and mouldering remains of fine clothing. This gaunt and skeletal humanoid has withered flesh stretched tight across its bones, but the points of light that burn in its empty sockets betray its power. Liches are the remains of great wizards who embrace undeath as a means of preserving themselves. No wizard embraces lichdom on a whim, and those who walk this path must make bargains with fiends, evil gods, or other foul entities. However, the process to become a lich is a well-guarded secret, and those offering it demand fealty and service for their knowledge. A lich is created by an arcane ritual that traps the wizard's soul within a phylactery, typically a small vessel such as trinket box or amulet, where arcane sigils of naming, binding, immortality and dark magic are inscribed in silver. This prevents the soul from travelling to the outer planes of death. Doesn't sound like a good deal to me. But this is Lore B Monsters 72. So Demi-Lich. A Lich's immortality lasts only as long as it feeds mortal souls to its phylactery. A Lich that fails or forgets to carry out this function physically falls apart until only its skull remains, becoming a Demi-Lich. Okay, maybe not. Fearsome foes. A Lich is a dangerous enemy for any party to take on. While a cleric usually has an edge against undead, a Lich has advantage on saving throws against any effects that turns undead. Nice to know. So, small tactical nuclear device required to destroy a Lich. Right, Modrons. Meet the Modrons, order-obsessed clockwork constructs who keep Mechanicus cogs turning. Is there any being more efficient than a Modron? Or a Modron? These spindly-legged constructs devote their lives to maintaining order in the clockwork outer plane of Mechanus. Lacking individual identities or desires, Modrons tirelessly tend the Mechanus's eternally revolving gears under the command of the immortal leader Primus, the One and Prime. This has the knock-on effect of increasing order throughout the multiverse, though few beyond Primus understand how the process works. So, cool. Every 239 years, the gears of Mechanus complete 17 cycles. At this point, Primus dispatches an army of Modrons across the outer planes on a long and hazardous reconnaissance mission that ironically runs roughshod over all the planes, leaving chaos in its wake. Only a handful of Modrons make it back to Mechanus intact. And we've got some different Modrons here. So we've got this little round one with a little eye in the middle. A duo, that's a mono drone. So a duo drone is these two parts here. A tri-drone, shaped like upside down pyramids. Tri-drones lead lower ranked Modrons into orderly battle. Each side of tri-drone has its own face. Quadrone, the second highest rank of Modron. These cube-shaped winged wonders act as artillery and field officers. And Pentadrone, it's just like a mechanical starfish. The highest ranked drone, they oversee all other drones. Unlike other Modrons, these starfish-shaped entities are capable of responding to new or unusual situations. Rogue Modrons, occasionally you might run into a Modron who is not part of the traditional hierarchy. these modrons who have become defective or exposed to chaotic forces, leading them to disobey primacies, orders, break fundamental laws, and sometimes act violently. However, it's worth noting that rogue modrons can be good or evil. Other modrons are dispatched to hunt down such rogues. The Concordant Express. What is this? The Concordant Express is a clockwork train constructed by modrons with their standard precision. The train traverses the multiverse on a series of levitating tracks which are placed before it by mechanical hands. Cool. Do you know what that conjures up? For those that have seen the Wallace and Gromit film, The Wrong Trousers, all I've got is Gromit on the front of a train, like furiously throwing track down as it's going along. That's the image that conjures up. The train traverses the multiverse on a series of levitating tracks which are placed before it in mechanical hands. Another set of hands collects the tracks after the train has passed over them and passes them to the engine car. This unique system allows the train to traverse inhospitable environments with ease, as well as a sapient engine car that acts as conductor. The train is serviced by modrons, including a quadrone named Glitch, who acts as hospitality manager. Excellent. Factions of Sigil, organisations that champion justice, chaos, sensory experiences, and baked goods, sit cheek by jowl in the City of Doors. Those seeking a cause or organisation to belong to might find what they're looking for in Sigil. The City of Doors is home to 12 ascendant factions, 6 minor factions, and countless failed factions. Every religion is also catered for in the Ladies' Ward, with no power deemed too obscure to worship. Where else can you find temples of demonic cultists and goodly priests erected side by side? So Clark's Ward, fated. The wheels of bureaucracy turn steadily under the fastidious gaze of these bookkeepers. Incanterium. This faction was thought dead when Tower Sorceress, along with all known incantifiers, vanished. The building has since inexplicably rematerialised. Its members siphon magic to lengthen their own lifespans. Society of Sensation. For each strict fact checker, policy maker and enforcer in the Clark's Ward, there is an open-minded artisan, entertainer or thrill seeker to match. Hive Ward, Bleak Cabal. This faction believes that the quest for cosmic meaning is futile. Hands of Havoc. This secretive collection of anarchists aims to free society through chaos. Heralds of Dust, aptly headquartered in the mortuary. Dusters believe the multiverse itself is an afterlife and every creature is already dead. Since undeath is seen as a precursor to true death, they count many undead among their ranks. Ladies' Ward, Doomguard. This faction controls the armory. Controls the armory of Sigil and oversees the production and sale of weapons. Fraternity Order. This faction is part of Sigil's tripartite of justice alongside the Harmonium and the Mercy Killers. Harmonium. Members of the Harmonium believe that their purpose is to unify the multiverse no matter the cost. Mercy Killers. Mercy Killers earn their name for their ruthlessness. Lower Ward, Athar. This faction gathers in the Shattered Temple, a place once dedicated to Oscar, a now dead god of portals. Ring Givers, a direct foil to the selfish fated. The Ring Givers believe that charity leads the way to enlightenment and redistribute the wealth of greedy tycoons to the needy. Mind's Eye. The Seekers oversee the creation of tools and parts that most take for granted. Market Ward. Free League. Many without strong connection to Sigil's ascendant factions join the Free League, an informal association of pragmatic citizens who keep their options open when it comes to the truths of the multiverse. Transcendent Order. This faction strives for the harmony of all things. Under Sigil, dead factions cling to life in nowhere, a depressing refuge beneath the streets of Sigil. A coterie of cakes. The Cakers are a destitute band of rosy-cheeked bullies who assert the multiverse is a great multi-layered cake and that baked goods are its fundamental unit of trade. Yay! Revolutionary League. This mishmash of misfits and outcasts was once a popular anarchist faction vowing to dismantle society, and then undivided, the Deniers are composed wholly of creatures native to Sigil who believe those who pass through the planar portals are destroyed and replaced with clones. Then we have our encounter. Encounter background. Kraesir the Undying did not live up to his name. He spent his last moments grovelling before his demonic master Orcus and now lays dead at the character's feet. While Neverwinter's defenders battled undead forces on the city streets, the characters entered the demonic flesh cocoon surrounding Cloak Tower, reaching the chamber housing the Plague Stone at the heart of the cocoon. They confronted the evil warlock and his minions for the final time. Despite their victory over Kraesir, the characters' tribulations are not over yet. They must still deal with the Plague Stone itself to put an end to the deadly disease that is transforming Neverwinter's citizens into mindless zombies. To complete this encounter, the characters must choose to either destroy or deactivate the Plague Stone and escape the Cloak Tower as the flesh cocoon collapses. So there you go. So we've got information on deactivating the Plague Stone or destroying the Plague Stone, and then the collapsing cocoon. Looks like you're going to have a chase where you need to outrun the collapsing cocoon. Yeah, this is interesting. We've got this, so yeah, Heart of the Cocoon. So we are the previous, one of the previous maps that we had, which listed all the different rooms. We're using that again in order to run from. Okay, Noble Sacrifice, Tragic Victory. And there you go. And then we have a swarm of automatic quills and a Vrock, Large Fiend, Demon, Chaotic Evil. Armor class is 15, natural armor, hit points 104, speed 40, fly 60. It's got strength of 17 plus 3, dexterity 15 plus 2, constitution 18 plus 4, intelligence 8 minus 1, wisdom 13 plus 1, and charisma is 8 minus 1. Saving throws at dexterity, wisdom, and charisma. Damage resistance, cold, fire, lightning, bludgeoning, piercing and slashing from non-magical attacks. Damage immunity is poisoned, condition immunity poisoned, senses dark vision 120 feet, passive perception 11, speaks abyssal and has telepathy up to 120 feet. So challenge 6, 2300 XP. Okay, cool. Right, so that's that. Let's have a look at our dice. So this is the last tin of dice. It's a bit depressing that they haven't actually done anything super duper for the very last issue. So we've got another tin. Come back. Stop running away. Let's put that there. Right. Let's have a look at this. I like these dice. I like the multicoloured patterns. That's a nice colorations on this. So D20, because I like this set. I might see if I can use it. So what do we got? We got a 12. We got an 18. We got a 10. Oops. We got a 13. Got a 12. We got a 4. So, oh, there's a 1. It's kind of like middling a lot of the rolls. Although I'm rolling low at the moment. There's a natural 20. I might give this set of dice a whirl in my next game and see what we have. 11, 5, 5, 16. Well, yeah, it's fair to middling. I might kind of be happy with this. Yeah, we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see. Anyway, that was Dungeons & Dragons issue number 79. I hope you enjoyed that. And I do hope that you will see me in the next video.